Hi, this is David speaking from simplysolo.com. Today I'm interviewing Bruce Carter about how to recognize your soulmate. It's a very interesting topic. Every one of us needs to know or wants to know how to recognize that special person or maybe special people that come into our lives and how that person has an impact on our life, and particularly where do we go to from there. Does this impact have some important place in our life, or is this a person that we maybe just become friends with? Bruce Carter will help answer these questions today. David here from simplysolo.com. What I'd like to ask you today is in relation to your article on how to recognise a soulmate. Now, a lot of people have a little bit difficulty in understanding, well, first of all, what is a soulmate? How would you define a soulmate?
Look, a soulmate is someone who comes into your life to help you grow. Now, when I mean by growth, I mean this. I mean they're growing, helping you grow to become self-accepting of yourself. Now, when you become self-accepting of yourself, you're like an oak tree. Now, an oak tree is just an oak tree. So, self-acceptance is enabling you to accept yourself fully and become who you're meant to be. That's the essence of a soulmate. And what a soulmate.
So it allows you, a soulmate, another person allows you to accept you as you.
Yeah, it's not about meeting someone who loves you unconditionally, right?
Right.
It's about meeting someone who helps you become unconditional in your own self-love over time.
Oh,
and within
okay.
that gives you the process of meeting your destiny on this planet now.
Right.
Listen to this, right? A soulmate you may be married to,
Right.
or someone who might be someone outside your marriage, right? It may be a work colleague or a friend who's in a rock band with you, or it may be someone who you meet regularly for a cup of coffee, right?
Okay.
So soulmates don't respect physical barriers within society. They don't respect cultural constraints. They don't respect family belief systems. They operate at a deeper level within humanity.
So I could even have maybe say, a Facebook friend who lives in Perth, for example, and I'm here in Sydney, many frequent flyer points away from that person, and she could really be my soulmate. So it doesn't matter where she lives, or she might be in New Zealand, or whatever the case might be. So it's not subject to that. Or she might even just be around the block.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But listen, I guess you're here to listen to this DVD. What about my soulmate, my intimate soulmate, my committed partner, or whatever that definition may be? Now here's the thing, right? If you meet a soulmate on that level, okay, two things are going to happen, right? You're going to have massive attraction which brings you guys together.
Right.
Okay? And the reason that is because you are connecting on a level of desire, but not on a level of desire in terms of mental stimulation, but on a level of mental stimulation, emotional stimulation, physical stimulation of sexual energy, as well as spiritual concepts and spiritual growth.
So what you mean is, like, to put that in layman's terms, probably say an X factor.
An absolute X factor. You know, a soulmate on that level will take you to a space that you've never known. And the difference is, it's like someone who's having a baby, trying to work out and figure out, okay, I'm going to have a baby, and understanding what it might be to have a baby, right? And the difference being when that baby turns up and you've got this beautiful little human being that you've half created,
right,
and it's in your hands, right? On that moment that is born is an experience that your mind couldn't comprehend until that particular day happened.
And much the same as discovering a soulmate would be like that comprehension of, wow, I don't know where I was before this happened. Yeah.
So a soulmate will take you into that space.
Oh, okay.
Where you've never been before. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically.
Right.
That's why it's so intense.
Oh, okay. So, in addition to knowing that, that's a very clear example and probably an easy one to understand. What would be some other additional things that could, say, help me discover, does this person really love me? Some people have doubts, that kind of thing. What would you say to that?
Soulmates hit you on a really deep level. Okay, so, people who've met their soulmate, they will tell you they've met their soulmate. This is my soulmate. This is the person who I'm meant to be with. This is this is the person I've been waiting for. Because the reason you know is because you've had a tension within you for years and years and years, or a desire within you, and nothing within you settles in terms of the relationship you're in, right? You have a knowing that this is not the person I want to be with. So when that person actually turns up in your life in a physical sense, that desire, that tension within you disappears.
Oh, okay.
Disappears. For that period of time, that growth occurs. Now, growth gets to a point where it disappears.
So, in other words, you get a certain peace about you, a certain peacefulness or restfulness that, hey, wow, this really is happening around me.
Yeah. The interesting thing about soulmates, right, is often it is not a hugely emotional experience when they meet, and there's not the doubt that goes on often.
Right.
It's a calmness that comes over where there's just a knowing that you're meant to be together for this moment in time. And the reason that occurs is because your mind, which creates the emotion and the roller coasters and the waves of doubt and confusion and fear and love and excitement and all that, disappears, and the level of connection is within a deeper part of yourself, at the level of your soul, at the level of your intuition. And that place in you is always calm, it always knows what to do.
Right.
You know, there's a saying, you know, if you want to know if it's your soulmate, ask your heart knows the answer.
And this would probably even answer the question of is this, if this person is not committed, or whether I'm not committed or whatever, really also defines whether they're really a soulmate in your life or not too.
I don't think commitment has anything to do with it.
Oh, okay.
Because commitment often comes out of a belief system from the church or from your family upbringing, with what society determines as what's right and wrong in relationships. Soulmate relationships cut through things like that. They cut through marriage constraints, they cut through work commitments, they cut through constraints around society. They're not meant to. Okay, they're working on a very, very soul level. Yeah? So a soulmate will shape you up, will turn you up, and it'll take you where you're meant to be. You know, if you've manifested a relationship in your life that you know you're not meant to be in, and the moment you realise and you commit to the fact that this is not who I'm meant to be with, often a soulmate turns up.
Oh,
in your life.
Right. And it's having the courage to leave. It's having the courage to maybe say leave the relationship that's not right, to follow the soulmate when that person appears, when you allow yourself the permission to do such a thing.
Well, it's about attachment. The moment you release the attachment of that particular thought form, opens up the pathway for a soulmate energy to come in and fulfill what you truly desire.
And usually a lot of people hang on to things which stops the soulmate coming into their life.
100%. They hang on to old relationships, they hang on to whole belief systems, but they hang on to things like, you know, am I going to find a guy that my mother will like or not like?
Oh, right. Yeah? Okay. Things that have got nothing to do with them.
The person who meets their soulmate.
They're wanting to please their friends and their family rather than pleasing their own internal soul.
Yeah, it's the difference like this, right? It's the difference in going and getting a job because you need to earn money to live,
right?
Or going and do what you love,
right?
And make money out of that. But the primary thing is about doing what you love.
Oh, I see.
It's a very, very different feel about doing work.
Yeah.
When you come from a space where I'm doing what I really love, as opposed to I have to do this work to make a living so I can pay my rent.
Oh, I see.
Bills.
Good point.
Okay, and guess what? You know, 95% of people do the got to make money routine out there, and 95% of people go out and follow their heart and do what they love.
Yeah.
And that's the difference to soulmates as well.
Most people do what
people
they're...
drop into the belief system and society's constraints around what they think is right and wrong. I've got to get married by a certain age and I've got to do this and whatever. So they actually cling on to something to try and fulfill some need externally outside themselves.
So they perpetuate more of the tension and difficulties in their life because they're living by a society picture rather than the heartfelt picture that's in their soul.
Yeah. And you know, they're driving someone in their life from lack.
Right. Lack of being able to achieve it, a lack of being able to find a person. A poverty mentality.
You can't ever create wealth by sympathising with people's poverty.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to be able to have that abundance mentality to be able to have it. So in terms of attracting a soulmate into your life,
Yeah.
you need to be able to get yourself to a space of absolute abundance of love for yourself
Right.
at this moment in time, where you don't actually need anybody to fulfill that need within yourself, and then that person will come in and be attracted to that, and you will be able to operate from a space of abundance of love.
Because they're attracted to the abundance of the feeling of love which is there readily in you.
You're multiplying it into your life.
Yeah.
You're not coming from a space of lack.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
Well, look, thanks very much, Bruce, today for answering some of these very difficult, sometimes difficult soul-felt type questions that people have about relationships. And we look forward to having you on the program again very soon then. So thanks very much, Bruce Carter, from How to Recognize Your Soulmate, the page that we've got here on simplysolo.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you.